intro music. I think we're live. Hey, welcome to the Not So Tender podcast with me and Kelly. Counselor Kelly, new to the show. Hi, Kelly.
Well, hey, Thomas.
How's your day?
It was all right.
It's cold.
It was chilly.
It was so sunny when I woke up. And I was happy. I was like, oh, look how sunny it is. And they were throwing salt on the way, and I was pissed. I was like, why are they throwing salt? The sun is shining. And as I was working, I looked outside, and suddenly it's a snow globe. I was like, well, I guess they watch the weather, and I don't.
Yeah. No, I never check the weather.
People get bummed out when it's not sunny.
Yeah.
Is that a real thing?
Yeah. I feel like, my opinion, if it's going to be cold at autumn, it should just snow.
And just be sunny and snowy.
Yes.
That gray.
Yeah.
Gray's
Sunny,
brutal.
snowy, cold.
Gray's brutal.
Affects your mood.
Oh man, she's gotta get closer. There you go.
Is that better?
Yeah, don't be afraid. You can get close. Like you can
Just
push her
all
with
the
your
way.
face like me. But get in there. Like when you were
Nose
singing
it.
at the crazy things. Did you have a microphone?
Yes.
Dang. That's fancy. So do people get more sad when it's gray, like wintertime?
Oh, yeah.
Not just because of holidays.
Seasonal depression. That's a real thing. Vitamin D?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why haven't we combated that here in Ohio?
We do a little. So a lot of people that go to like their PCP
What's
will
that?
get
You
like
got to explain that.
their
PCP sounds like a different thing for me.
primary care physician.
Oh,
So your doctor.
not drugs.
No, your doctor. Just your general doctor.
Okay.
Primary care physician. They will often prescribe vitamin D.
But that's not
Specifically
enough,
for
right?
people in Ohio.
Is that enough?
It will boost your mood.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
There's a lot of jokes in vitamin D, just to let you know. So I heard on NPR one day that they were talking about there's a college close to the North Pole. It's like the most northern college, and it's dark. But
All
they
the
have
time,
very
right?
little depression because they employ these lights, and they really are
Yes.
disciplined by it. And I'm like, why aren't we doing that here? Mm-hmm. Like literally, everybody should be like, oh, you live in Ohio? Oh, you got your light in your kitchen that you drink your coffee to or get
No.
ready to.
No.
Why don't we have that?
Because it's Ohio
We just rather just be-
norm.
oh, we're
Yes.
Browns
right,
fans.
Yeah, right. We do-
We're Browns fans.
we-
Just suffer. Just eat it.
We welcome the misery.
Oh my God. It's true.
It's seasonal, right?
Speaking of misery, let's talk about relationships. So that's what we talk about here, is adult conversations about relationships.
Oh my gosh. And misery is the first word that comes to
No,
mind.
but I mean, honestly, so I had, funny story. So today I had two girls, 20 years old. They both go to OU. Is that in Athens? Yes, OU.
Yeah. Down in Columbus. Somewhere down there.
And we were talking. I said, yeah, I'm doing a podcast tonight, and I'm excited. And they're like, oh, what's it about? I'm like, relationships. And they're like, oh, oof. You know, but they were talking. And this girl was talking about dudes. And then, you know, the one friend always rats out the other friend. You ever notice that?
Oh, yeah.
They're like, oh, tell her what a hooker you are. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So she was talking, and she said she's been barely seeing this guy for like, I don't know. She didn't even say how long. She's like, yeah, he was cheating on me. Blah, blah, blah. And then the girl he was cheating on me, I just figured, well, it's cool because they're together now, and she's pregnant, and, you know, that's where you're supposed to be.
Oh, yeah. He found his purse.
Yeah, and I thought that was nice for a
Right.
20-year-old girl to be that kind of foresight. But here's the funny thing. I go, did you guys have like you've been dating, how long were you seeing him? She's like 4 months. And I was like, man, that's pretty early. I said, I think the first year should be full of mulligans. Like you should be able to
Right, yeah.
go, hey, like if you have an
a learning
employee for the first year, you're not like, hey, you didn't do that right, you're fired.
Right.
Like, hey, we
Get a
don't do that
probationary
here.
period. Right. yeah,
Right.
Right.
And it was funny because she's, you know, we're talking, and I said, so, I mean, was it serious? Did you guys talk about being monogamous and all that? And she was just like him hauling around. I go, you probably didn't even know his middle name.
Right.
And guess what? No.
Right.
I go, it sounded serious. But how do you not know? Like, you
Right.
think you're in a serious monogamous relationship.
Right.
You don't even know his middle name. Mm-hmm. How's that a thing?
Right. Well, yeah. Where'd he grow up?
And he goes, and she goes, when I accused him of cheating, he goes, why would you say that? My dad cheated on my mom, and that ruined me. And I was like, he went that hard to sell it when he was literally cheating
When
on
he
you?
was guilty.
Like, Jesus
Right.
Christ. Dude, if I was doing it,
He
and
brought
you,
his childhood and
like
set it on the
you
table.
bringing up your dad, like, and you did it, and she's like, "You're just like your dad." I was like, "That's fucking ruthless."
Ooh.
But yeah, shitty tree, shitty fruit. I mean, it's gonna happen.
No,
You know what I
yeah.
mean? I
Right.
definitely suffer some of my dad's scars, and
We all do.
yeah,
It's
I
modeled
mean, my mom
behavior.
should have did better. I guess breeding. I don't know. Just saying. I must have got that from my mom talking shit. You know.
Intergenerational, for sure.
Do you notice that people, like, she's like, she made it sound like he cheated on me and blah. I'm like, you were dating 4 months.
Right.
Do you feel like what would be a normal, healthy-ish?
Ooh.
That's a hard one, right?
I currently feel like age plays a really big part in that. I recently clinically have decided that anybody in their 20s should not try to be serious.
Because you can't be.
You
Guys
don't
don't
know
even
who
hit
you
puberty
are.
till 30.
You don't know who you are. Like, everybody in society has set us up, right? That, like, by the time you're 18, you should know what you want,
School.
where you're going, your forever
Yeah,
career.
the color that your bridesmaids are going to wear.
Right. Find your person when you're
Yeah.
20 and then
Pick
start
out a
having
photographer.
babies. Right. Yeah. Nobody, I would say the percentage of people who are consistent in their 30s and their 20s is small. That you're not the same person.
Yeah, unless
You're not.
unless
Your
you were
20s are
raised,
monumental.
you'd have to be raised in extremely, and everything would have to be perfect.
Yeah. That's not the norm, though.
You know what the girl said to me? They go, you have to understand that all the girls we're around our age are so fucked up already because of who they've dated. I go, for 4 years, y'all are fucked. You're fucked then.
Right.
Because if you're fucked up after your few handful of people you've been with, and
Right. Well, it's
honey,
'cause
put your
they're-
seatbelts on.
They're dating for marriage at 19. Right?
It's true. I was married at 18
Right.
the first time. But I was dating someone who was from a seriously religious family.
Right.
And they pretty much guilted us into it.
Right.
That
They are
ended
dating
wonderfully.
for life at 19.
Ugh.
How do you do that? I'm not the same person I was in my 20s.
And not even that. But here's the weird thing, though. I do, because my argument to that a little bit is my favorite couples that I'm friends with have been together since they were teens, but they grew up together. So they experienced
Sure.
things. So that's rare. But that, to me, is the only way until you're older and you've already kind of disciplined yourself to know what you can deal with or not deal with, because that's really
Sure.
what it is. But when you grow up with each other, like, it's like trauma bond. Like, you just know, like, we did this together.
Right,
And like,
ride
I
or
know
die.
I know your
Right.
shit.
Right.
I know that if you fucked up, I know I've seen you cry about your dad and nobody knows about it. I've seen you do.
Sure.
So I think that's like my friends that are couples that have been together forever. They're lovely. Like they have this like not fake relationship, but like, and then there's other ones
Right.
that are like, you
Right.
know,
So I would argue, though, that couples that I work with that are still together, like since teenage years, we'll say,
yeah,
didn't grow in their 20s. And hear me out. Like, so couples that I work with that have a second career are more likely to get divorced. They went back to grad school. They grew.
Oh, their kids grew up, or they had kids young.
They grew again.
because once you
And
have
that's a
kids, you're not in a
natural
relationship
development.
anymore.
What? Right.
You're a parent.
Right. They got married when they were 18. They've known each other since they were 15. They went to school together. They grew together.
Yeah.
And then they got married, started having children. And then when somebody else continues to grow, that gets risky.
Is it an ego thing? Like you don't want them to outgrow you? Because I heard a story
yeah.
of somebody that their wife was bettering themselves, and he literally said, "I know as soon as you graduate and get a good job, you're going to leave me."
Yes.
When I heard that, I was like, "Why would you love him? Like you adore him.
Mm-hmm.
You're just trying to bring more money and love into this family. Why would he feel that way?" Like I couldn't, like, not to be a dick. If I ever had a girl that made more money than me, I'd be like,
Sweet. Right.
because I've yet to have that. So
Right.
I would be like,
Right.
man, this is dope. Like, wow, we can actually, I don't stress, but I'm saying like, it would just be like added bonus, like cool
Yeah.
vacations and
Yeah.
like dope stuff. You know what I mean? Like, oh, let's buy some new patio furniture just because we want to.
Yes. So the couples that I work with, we use the the imagery of like a puzzle, right? So you've built your whole life. This is my career, this is my family, this is my spouse, and you're a puzzle piece, right? That fits in that puzzle that you
Yeah.
built. And then you grow, but the puzzle remains the same.
So you don't fit in that piece.
You don't fit.
Do you think that whole puzzle thing, because I've been talking about that all week.
Same.
That's, yeah. So all week I've been talking about the puzzle thing because everybody has my whole life, and I'm sure you're the same. You'll find the right piece. You'll find the right. You're missing a piece. Someone will complete you.
You know, that's trash.
It is such
That's trash.
Okay. So I explained to that person that was, and I was like, no, I am not a puzzle. I am not missing a fucking piece. I am painting. Mm-hmm. I think we talked about this before.
Yeah.
And I've said it to a few people. I'm a painting, and some of my colors will age better. Some will be horrible as I get older.
Sure.
And some will be
Not
more
so attractive,
vibrant. And
right?
some,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? But some of them will be like, wow, that really just blossomed and is
Yeah.
beautiful. And I feel like your person should be just a little light that sits above you and turns on. You're like, wow, I didn't never notice that detail on the top of that painting. That's beautiful. But you don't need that light to be a good painting.
Right. You're good either way.
So do you think that's one of the first downfalls, is that you have to have somebody to be complete? That puzzle piece shit?
Yeah. No.
And then once you're a puzzle, you outgrow that puzzle.
Well,
So
yeah.
when you're already in that
you're-
puzzle mentality,
Yeah, if your piece
Hashtag
gets any
puzzle
bigger
mentality.
right, and you don't fit, then there becomes this like internal dilemma, right? Of like, if I'm my whole self, I don't fit, so I have to be smaller.
oh yeah.
I have to be.
You know what I
smaller
said
to
yesterday?
Fit into
I feel
what
like I've been
created.
pruned. I feel like I've been pruned to the point where I don't even know if I'm a fucking plant anymore.
Right. Well, and there's so much guilt and shame that goes into that individual who is finding themselves and kind of God, and it feels so mean, right? To like outgrow it. But that is what it feels like organically.
But if somebody gets better, like I've played in bands my whole life, if I have a guy in my band that is really woodshedding like crazy and becoming just a better player,
Yeah.
I'm never sad. It almost inspires me to do better. I want him to be better.
Sure.
I want him to, even if he outgrows playing with us and goes, hey man, I'm moving on to this next level, I'd be like, man, I got to play with that guy.
Right.
Or I'm going to work harder. And I don't know if that's just that has to be a confidence thing. If you're not comfortable with yourself,
Yeah, a
you're obviously
security
going to
thing.
feel
Sure.
threatened by everything.
Sure.
So that probably plays into the rest of your life. And with your mate, you're not going to be okay with that at all,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. No, that often happens. So what happens is the partner grows and develops and has shame and guilt. And the alternative, the other partner who's not growing, which is not true, they're just maybe not growing in the same way,
Right.
has just as much shame and guilt. I'm not good enough.
Jesus. Or they're going to leave me.
They're super insecure.
Why? Like,
You have this hobby, you have this career.
it's like the nicer you
this-
make your car, you're going to worry. You make your car super nice so somebody can steal it. And
Yep.
you won't drive it because you're afraid somebody's going to steal it.
Yep. But
That's
then
weird.
But then they sit in that.
You know people steal shitty cars too.
They do. They do.
I mean, I don't know if people know this,
There's
but people cheat on people that are real losers too,
That's true.
that have,
That's
you know,
true.
like
It
really.
serves a function.
I think the busier you are, the probably less chance you have of doing that, weirdly enough. But probably not. I mean, I'm sure if you want to do it, you're just going to do it. Why are some people so afraid of cheating?
What do you mean? Why are people afraid to cheat?
No, God, no, they're not afraid to cheat.
Like, is that a thing?
Yeah, they're going to lose half their shit.
Well,
That's
let me
one
tell
reason.
you, there's a couple reasons why
Yeah,
people are
why do you
afraid
think
to cheat.
people that is their entire like sub life is worried about their person cheating? When I ask questions every day,
Mm-hmm.
I ask the same question to people because I do these studies on people,
Oh yeah, your case studies.
my case studies, and I ask them the same question. And they always are like, trust. It's about trust. And I'm like, why are you having sex with somebody you don't trust? Like, I feel like Sheldon. I feel like a
Yeah.
complete, like,
you
I'm,
just look at the world and be like,
yeah,
this doesn't make
like,
sense.
what do you don't trust somebody you're fucking? I mean, I'm just going to say it bluntly.
Sure.
How are you fucking somebody you don't trust?
Right. Naked, intimate, with no trust.
Dude, so when we were talking about earlier about relationships, like when is it appropriate to be monogamous or be like that? I think if you're having unprotected sex with somebody,
Yeah.
that's when that conversation, if that's what you want, whatever you're into.
Well,
but I think if you're going to start having these
if you're
parameters,
responsible and mature.
because you're messing
right?
with somebody's
Yeah.
health,
Right.
you know what I mean? And that's not cool.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Do you also, that's not always the conversation that's had.
No, it's never, they don't talk about that.
Right.
They don't
When
ever
was the
talk
last
about
time you
that.
got tested?
Yeah, well, I will say this. That's more relevant now That's way more relevant. Girls will demand that, and that's really smart of them.
Yeah.
You
Well,
know?
as it should be.
Yeah. Well, I mean, some people just don't care. Some people can't have hard conversations. I mean, you're in the business to have hard conversations. That's what you
right.
do.
I'm like, I don't know.
I'd love to know what you struggle talking about, though, in your personal life. I mean, you can't.
I don't even know what that would be.
But there's funny because, like, even with what I do, there's things that, like, I get nervous about.
Yeah. Makes you sweat a little more.
Because you just got to deal with it. It's like pulling off the Band-Aid.
Yeah.
Oh, hey. We have a phone number that you guys can call. Can you put that up on the screen, Jay? Did you hear him say that? 234.
Quick.
What's the next number, Jay?
200.
So 234-200. 5949. And he's going to put it on the screen because you won't remember me saying it, but it'll be there or there on the bottom.
I think it's on the bottom.
Or there. So call. Tell us your problems. We might put you on. We might call you and put you on live. We'll get crazy. So the trust thing is the number one thing people say. Trust.
Every time.
Trust.
Right.
And I ask them to define it, and it falls apart very quickly.
Yeah, because what's trust? What do they want to trust in?
I think, Lord knows, that's been the bane of my existence. And I've given some people reason not to trust me back in the day when I used to be really shitty.
Sure. Everybody's
But
been
it carries
really shitty.
on, for sure.
Yeah.
But that I've moved on and got healthier and been honest about shit, it still doesn't matter. People still don't trust me. It's bizarre to me.
Well, because it has nothing to do with you.
Yeah, I do understand that. But you try to be nice because the person's worth it and you love them.
Sure.
And you try to make them, like, if if a
you
little
try to
kid's afraid of
prove
something,
it.
you don't be like, no, just get the fuck over it.
Right.
Eventually. But sometimes you're like, hey, let's just work through it, because
Right,
you love them and you care.
Right.
But the trust thing is the most, like, so the girls I was talking to today, I said, how many times did, have you, after someone cheated on you or your friends, someone cheated, have you slept with them? And they're all like quiet. And like most people, I ask this question. And I go, so how big of a deal is it? Now, I do know a lot of people that are like, no, I'm done. I'm fucking done. But honestly, that's a small number.
No, because they just go in a different bucket.
Yeah.
They still entertain it. They just fall in a different category.
It changes.
Yeah.
It's almost like you got more power over them now.
Oh, for sure.
I've seen it all with the cheating thing. I've seen people, they almost get off on it. They almost enjoy it. It's like it turns into a weird kink for them, both partners. It's a power thing that, like, I want to prove. And they almost want to get back at the person they cheated on with. Like they're getting them back. Like, oh, yeah? Well, I'm going to have sex with them now, and now I win.
Right. Well, because I can call you. I'll text you, and you come to me.
I'll
So
send
that's
you
some sort of, like,
screenshots.
power struggle that they won.
Do you find that odd? I do.
Yeah, it's.
The whole
I think
thing's
it
odd.
is a lot more about power than it is about trust, if you really break it down. Because
Like
if
you're
somebody's
winning?
loyal, yeah, you're winning.
I
if
told a
somebody's
lady
loyal
yesterday.
to you, you win.
Yeah, for sure. I told her yesterday, and here's your imaginary trophy to go in your imaginary trophy case that's the size of your back 40 yard. You know what I mean? And she was like, oh my God, you're right. She goes, I have a big trophy case.
She's won a lot of.
She was laughing because she was,
battles.
you know what I
yeah.
mean? She was like, holy shit. I was like, what are you winning? She goes, well, I was just very upset that the situation she was talking about. I was very upset. I said, you were very upset?
How upset?
Like, how upset were you?
Right. Were you like puking in your bathroom?
You could have said concerned. How much easier does that sound?
Right.
I was concerned for my nephew's feeling.
Sure.
And she looked at me. She's like, shit. And I'm like, I'm not. But, like, when people talk to you in sessions, obviously you can't, but.
Vaguely.
Yeah. But
Umbrella.
in general.
Sure.
How hard is it for you to just look at them and go, you're full of shit?
Not hard for me.
You just do it?
I do.
That's good
do.
because I think that makes a good person.
So they'll say something and I'll pause and be like, "Did you hear that? Like
Say it
you
again.
heard it,
Say
right?
it
Like
again.
you heard it.
I do that all the time.
I heard it. You heard it. We
Yeah.
all heard it. Is that you're gonna stick to that one, or like you
Yeah.
want to
Say that again. Just say it out loud.
You want to reword that just a little bit because we all heard that just now.
So, do you do individuals and then couples? Mm-hmm. Okay, so the individual, you'll get one story, and then you'll get the individual from the other, and then you put them in the same room.
So
You're like a detective.
Well, yeah.
Good cop, bad cop.
So the board will tell you that if you start with an individual, it often is unethical to then switch to couples because you have a stronger therapeutic bond with one than the other.
That would make sense. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So most
You're like, no, I
often-
really don't care for either one.
I tell people, I'm like, I don't care if you stay together or split.
They do not like to hear that.
No, you should see the eyeballs. That
Is it
go
always the
down
person that initiated the
Usually.
They're like this,
Usually.
but this is supposed to fix this.
Nope. I say it is my job to help you guys come to whatever conclusion is best for you.
I like that.
That's
I like
my job.
Conclusion is a
Right.
nice word for it.
That, you know what I mean?
Conclusion.
Like, if it's to split,
Then
it sounds
split.
great. I
Make your
don't,
kids happy.
I don't care.
Get a
Right.
divorce.
Whatever
Yay,
is
2
healthiest for
Christmases.
everybody. But they do. No, a lot of times people struggle with that. They're like, yeah, you're supposed to save our marriage. I'm like, I am not.
What?
Gonna do that.
Okay, then
That
you
is
have to do
not-
exactly what I tell you to do, which is probably not going to happen, right?
Well, and then they look to you and they're like, well, you're the expert. Like,
Dude, I've had
Yeah.
couples in the same room with me that go at it so hard that I have to stop them and go, you guys know I'm still in the fucking room, right?
I've
like
had that.
I'm literally sitting here.
I've had that.
If you forgot that I'm here and I'm not your therapist,
Oh, well, I am. And you know what I say? I say, if you guys, all due respect, if you guys are going to bicker and fight with just me present, you don't need me present for that.
oh,
So
I'm going to mute you for a minute. Let's get that out.
it,
Yeah.
you don't need me. You
No.
don't need me. If you guys are just going to go at it, I want to be beneficial.
How often are 2 people really trying to work on it and be healthy at the same time? Roughly. I know you can't really,
Both.
where they're both like, we really love each other and we're really struggling.
I would, that's, to be honest, it's rare.
Really?
Yeah. That I would say it's rare that their percentage of commitment is the same.
Well, that's normal. I
You
mean,
might
that's
have
normal.
75-25. That's hard though. And it
Oh,
ebbs
that's
and
a huge
flows
deficit.
after like
That's a huge deficit.
week to week, month to month, depending on how often you see them.
It ranges a little bit. I've heard people go, I've asked him to go to counseling and he wouldn't go or she wouldn't go. And I'm
Well, yeah,
like,
yeah.
okay, then it sounds like you're done. Well, no. And I'm like, I don't know what you're, but some people want you to go to counseling just to prove them right.
Yes.
Is that
They're
a
looking for
normal thing?
justification. Absolutely.
And they normally don't get it because they're normally wrong? Or do they get it?
It's everybody's always wrong. I mean, like it's just the reality.
It's
Like
kind of fact.
if you are
Because if you're
coming
right, you don't
to-
really argue about it.
Right. Right. So what I see most often, I use like the analogy of like your car just blew up on the side of the highway.
Car
And-
analogies are the best.
And you are coming for like an oil change.
Yeah, you're putting new rims on it.
You're trying to put in maintenance for something that is broken.
Like
so
you
like
threw
you
a
gotta,
rod.
right. We have to do some heavy hitting
Like
stuff that's
overhauling.
going to take a lot of time and takes a lot of commitment from both of you. So if we're not there, I don't know that this is going to be beneficial. And sometimes those are the hardest conversations to have.
Oh, I'd imagine.
Are we? I'm part of it now. Are we all in this?
Yeah.
Or
That's
or
a real
no?
question.
Right.
That's a real question.
I do breakouts sometimes, so that is when we like split, and I have to ask each individual,
Like, what's going on?
what-
Are you done with this? Like,
can I be helpful?
yeah.
Or is this just a means to an end?
That's heavy. That's super heavy. Because most people, they love each other.
Yeah.
But the resentment builds quickly.
Yeah. Well, they don't like each other.
Most people don't.
It's special. If you find a couple that loves each other and likes each other,
I had a beautiful moment the other night
that's a
talking to
big
my
deal.
friends.
Yeah.
They've been married. They've been together. They haven't been married as long as they've been together, obviously. They've been together almost 40 years.
Not married.
No, they're married.
Oh, they are married.
But I'm
Okay.
saying they got together when they're like
Sure.
16. And I've been asking all these people, what's the most important thing? Like I always ask them, what's the most important thing in my relationship? Because I'm taking in this data. And she looked at him and goes, I just want him to allow me to be me. And I literally choked up a little bit inside. I was so like, because they love each other. They respect each other. Yeah, they have some shit, but they don't mistreat each other horribly. I mean, everybody will say something and somebody takes something wrong.
Sure.
And I'm sure they do too. But the fact that she didn't put something on him, because most people's answers is what you have to do to make me feel better.
Yeah.
And I'm
need
noticing
my
that.
needs.
Yeah, you have to do my bidding because I, like we talked about, I call it human crack pipe.
Right.
That's
Right.
what it's the best way for me to put it. I want you to be my human crack pipe. Whenever I want to feel better, I'm going to light your fucking head on fire and suck the fucking life out of you.
Right.
Okay? That's not fair. But when she looked at him and literally says, I just want him to allow me to be me, and I'm going to allow him to be him, and we change and just allow each other to grow. And I was like, that is the healthiest shit. Because, like, I've been asking so many people, I'm not going to lie, it gets a little heavy and it gets a little dark. And to have that little beam of light in that dark-ass room for a split second made me go, it's worth it. That right there proves to me that it's capable of doing it. And they didn't grow up. I mean, they're in their mid-50s. They didn't grow up in a time where shit was super healthy.
No.
You know what I mean?
Right.
But the fact that they are able to maneuver through it, and, you know, I thought it was beautiful, man. Because most people, they fucking struggle with that shit.
Right.
You know what I mean?
No, I've had a couple conversations recently, and I know we talked about it the other night, that this like intergenerational thing, right? That 50 years ago, everybody talks about, well, 50 years ago, they met when they were 15 and they died together when they were 80, 90 years old, married, happy, whatever. But that was back when he went to bowling night twice a week.
Yeah.
He
went in his garage and worked on shit when he got home.
She had euchre with her girls.
Knitting.
She had a book
Babies,
club and all of
kids. He didn't take care of his fucking kids.
Right.
He smoked a pipe and, like, you watch Mad Men, read a paper. Leave your
Right.
dad alone.
Right. But they each had their own independent natural support system where they got all their needs met.
Where do you think that changed? When did it become Disney girls?
Our parents.
Really?
Yeah. Our parents, maybe our grandparents.
They wanted more?
Well, so realistically,
I'm going to say it's when The Notebook came out.
I'm going to say it's when, I think it was a slow progression, but as more women started working, in addition, like they weren't staying at home. 50 years ago, they were staying home.
Yeah.
And now they're working, so it just doubled.
The interactions and that they talk to more people and like, whoa, you're right. He is treating me bad. What do you mean he doesn't do that for you? And what do you mean?
Right.
And like, I understand, like, reasonable.
Sure.
Everybody wants a reasonable partner.
Yeah.
But you should probably know that before you start trading gravy with them, right?
Well, sure.
I mean, like, I know it's where I get messed up. I'm like, did they change?
Yeah.
No, he's always been like this.
No, he's the same person that he was when you
Unless
met
something
him.
traumatic happens, correct?
Correct.
Trauma will invoke a lot of different. So
that'll rock everybody's boat. But I think we now, back in the day, we looked at our partner for a couple boxes, right? Like, these are the things I need from you. You need to provide, you need to whatever.
As a woman back when we were growing up, our parents definitely, like, he find a guy with a good job.
Sure.
Maybe
Security,
a city worker,
loyalty,
good union guy.
Yep. But they got all their other boxes checked from their natural support system, their church, their community, their girlfriends, their family, all of that. We don't do that anymore.
No.
Now it's like, here's your list of 50 boxes
That you need to do for me.
If your partner doesn't check that, he's not your soulmate.
What's a soulmate shit?
He's not your soulmate.
You know
There's
what I tell people?
Spark left.
So when they talk about soulmate, I go, you mean wholemate?
Right. Right.
Like, I'm not, what's a fucking soulmate? Because a soulmate means, okay, you've been around extremely abusive relationships where it was drug induced and it was crazy shit. They went to jail.
Yep.
They fucking did horrible shit together. Those people are almost unbreakable.
Oh, they are ride or die.
For real,
Yes.
because they truly know that it don't matter. We've seen some shit together and we will get through it. Where normal people will literally be like, well, you did this, like something corny. And you're like going,
that's it?
like, he
That's where
almost
your
killed
line
her
is?
and went to prison and she still goes
she's
to visit
sending him $100 a month, $100 a week.
She takes care of his other kid that he had while he was with her.
Oh, right.
Why? Like, what does that? Is it trauma bond shit? I mean, it
That
has
is
to
trauma
be.
bond
like
shit. Yeah.
extreme.
Yeah.
Because I know this. I have friends that I've been through some crazy shit with, and we have a thing that we just look at each other like, let's go do it.
What do you need?
Let's do it.
Right.
Like, I ain't afraid of shit. Like, I will walk into battle with you. It don't matter.
Just tell me what it is.
Yeah, but what's the disconnect with a person now? Do you think there's so much pressure to have this visual, beautiful relationship that adds to it even more?
Oh God, yes.
It's like
Are you
Olin
on
Mills
social
on
media?
steroids. Yeah, it's Olin Mills on steroids. I like when old ladies are like, we didn't ever do this. We didn't need to have to promote our relationship, and we didn't have to do that shit. I'm like, you bitches sent pictures to your moms of you and your husband from Olin Mills and Kmart, where he combed his hair for the first time of the year, wore that same suit he wears when anybody gets married or buried. And you got mad if grandma didn't hang it up. That was your like. That was your fucking Instagram.
Right.
I don't need a picture of you and my uncle in my house. I don't.
No.
But they insisted
Yes.
that was their
Yes.
Instagram.
Yep.
They
No.
taught these ladies how to do this shit, huh?
Yes.
And now all our grandmas are just posting pictures of everything they fucking eat. Like, we need to see that shit.
They're my favorite, to be honest. Get out of here. Old people
No,
on
they're
social
my
media.
least favorite.
Stop it.
I unfollow them all. They post too much.
Look at you, Grandpa.
They post too much. Get out of my yard. They post too much.
More than young kids?
Sweet Jesus, yeah. Dude, listen.
No. See,
I'm gonna give you my
know.
mom's handle and let you follow her, and it'll last. I love my mom.
Does she post original stuff, or does she just?
What does that
does
mean?
She just
What, you think
share?
she's a content creator? Yeah, she
No,
has 6,000
because
followers. No.
The grandparents I know, they share. They saw some cool article.
Yeah.
That's
don't-
what they do.
but
It's
they
not
don't fact
pictures of
check.
them.
They
It's
don't
not
fact
pictures
check.
of them. They just share it.
It's good. My mom means well, and she loves everybody. She really does. But that shit is just like. But some old people, no, I can't fuck with them. I don't really care for old people that much. I don't.
They're my favorite. They have no fucks left.
No, but they listen.
Like, we're pocket checking. They got nothing.
I'm
They're just
at,
like, here
they're
it
done.
is. Like,
They're done. Yeah, but
here
I'm
it
at a
is.
weird
I don't
point with
care.
them. They don't take any responsibility. That's where I have a hard time with old people, because I have a hard time with old people saying how fucked up other generations are, and I'm like, yeah, you fucked us up. You built this
You passed it
foundation.
down.
And they just, you guys are so blah, blah, blah. I'm like, are you serious? I could do this. I could do 4 podcasts just on that, because that shit to me, it's like you guys taught us poorly how to love. Some of them did amazing jobs of showing us how to love.
Yeah.
But it usually wasn't in our immediate family.
No,
It was
I'm
a cool
very
aunt and uncle.
blessed.
It was a cool,
Right.
me too. And I really
my
was.
grandma is a badass.
But
I
my
mean,
grandma
has
was
been
single.
Through it. Yeah.
My grandma was
Right,
single. So I don't know. I just know she taught me how to be loving and try to walk with grace. My grandma was an amazing human. But there's moments still, though, I think she tolerated men's bad behavior, and I've seen that being passed down in my family, and that scares me.
Yeah.
So I try to
No, my
stop
grandma
that with
did
my
too.
daughters. You know what I mean? But it's interesting how old people do. But the relationship thing, I've watched it because I'm getting old enough now to have seen it unfold, and I'm around young people all the time as well. It is unfolded in a weird way. I think young women are stronger now than I've ever seen them in my entire life. They have literally surpassed young men. They have more eye of the tiger than I've ever seen in my life. Because people are like, well, Thomas, girls your age. I was like, girls my age are they were taught to not really thrive. They were taught to be taken care of. And I love taking care of someone. I'm a very much a person of service. I enjoy that in my life. But young girls will work 2 jobs, where young girls are like, I'm getting mine. I don't want anybody to tell me what to do, because they watch their mom suffer.
Right.
And they don't want to ever have a man tell them what to do, because they witnessed it. Or they witnessed stepdad after stepdad or boyfriend after boyfriend. And they're like, hell no. Just like boys my age are like, I'm not having a woman that does that shit. I would rather be alone.
No.
You know?
Most women that I work with right now on their intake paperwork literally say, I just want to be heard. I just want somebody who's going to listen.
Isn't that crazy?
And just
I'm very
validate
familiar with
me,
that.
or just
That's a very common thing.
just tell me that I'm okay.
I swear I've talked to people at my work that people literally they literally look at me like they've never been listened to. Mm-hmm. And even men, like grown-ass men, that I'm like, how in the fuck have you made it this far?
Right, with nobody listening to you?
Like, you must be belly at the bar just drinking your problems away.
Right.
You know? Like, that's no wonder people just try to numb it or drown it or whatever, man. I'm sure that's where a lot of it starts,
Right.
But I've noticed that what people think is a big deal in a relationship, when you have them try to actually explain it, it falls apart very quickly.
Yeah.
And then they always go back to this. Well, it's just how I feel about a relationship. I mean, it's different for everybody. I was like, kinda.
Do you feel like that's
sorta.
just because they're
It's
not
cop out.
good at communicating?
No, I think they're selfish. I think relationships inherently are selfish. Just the thought of a relationship, I think a relationship can be whatever it wants, because what changed the way I kind of tried to treat relationships, and Lord knows I'm not perfect by any means, as I had a bad breakup years ago, and I said, what's the best relationship I've ever had? Like in my life.
Like reflectively.
Yeah, not romantic, just a relationship. I said it was my mother. She loved me before she knew me. I allow her to be her. She allows me to be me.
Mm-hmm.
We don't think the same spiritually. We don't think the same, a lot of ways. We both love pork chops. You know what I mean? But
Right.
I love her. So I tried to apply that kind of feeling towards other people. You know what I mean? Like, but that gets dangerous. Well, just love them, not the version of them I need. Like within reason. Like I don't want somebody, like I don't do drugs. So I don't want to fuck with somebody who does drugs. There's certain things that I know that before I even fuck with you.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it isn't like all of a sudden, like if you found out somebody was a fucking heroin addict and you thought they were all cool, you're like, okay, didn't know this was part of the deal.
Right.
Okay, but then you just deal with it. Okay, but you should probably get to know somebody before you go that hard. You know what I mean? But I started applying that, and I found that it got better. It really got better because, like, because I have people all the time like, well, Thomas, what do you want in a girl? I'm not ordering a girl on Amazon. You know what I mean? I want her to be, you know what I mean? I could name the most ridiculous shit right now.
Right. Right.
And you would go, geez, what the fuck?
Right. But good luck. Right.
I don't want that. I want you to be genuinely you, and we can coexist like I do my friends. Like my best friend for a long time is a farmer truck driver that was raised Catholic. 3 of his aunts are nuns. Do you think we have the same, like, you know what I mean?
Experience? No.
But I love him, and he loves me, and I don't question it. And if I don't talk to him for a week, I'm not like, oh my God, Joe, do you fucking love me? You're maybe my best friend anymore. No, I'm just like, so why do we have to have a constant, is it the crack pipe thing again? Human crack pipe. You get sick, you go through withdrawal. Like, what's the deal? Like, how long could you go without seeing your mate before you question your relationship?
Oh, I had this conversation earlier this morning.
Nice.
Because,
he was probably like this. What's going on?
No.
Should I be worried?
No. So I had a client. I had a client that lives out of state, right? From her partner. And she was like, sometimes I just feel like I'm needier than he is, but she
like, no shit.
Right.
No shit.
Right.
But sometimes I feel like you're taller than me. Yeah, because I fucking am.
Right. But we had a conversation for her.
What does that fucking mean? You could spend an hour just on that.
Oh, yeah, right. I feel like I'm needier than he is.
And what does that change? Do you think if he's needier, then you're equal and he loves you more?
Yeah.
How about you work on why you're so fucking needy?
Well, so that's my job, right? So that's what we were working on.
Sit on my hands for a second. Get excited.
But for her, right. So she has ADHD. And hear me out, because that's a cop out in our society today. Like, oh, I have ADHD and that's why I can't function. No. People with ADHD struggle with object permanence. It's a real thing.
Boy, that just hit home.
So if I don't see it and if it's not in front of me, I start to question if it's there.
Sweet Jesus. Mm-hmm. Can I get a copy of that pamphlet?
So we had a whole conversation as to, like, just because you start to question it's not there does not change the reality, right? Because you're going to go home on spring break and it will be just as real as it ever has been.
It'll be whatever you want it to be.
Right.
You want it to be.
Right. And she was like, okay. I was like, so what you need, what is healthy for you if you have needs, right, that are not getting met, I don't know that they can be met if you're living states away. He's in Florida, you're in Ohio. So what's that look like then?
Cold and hot.
Right.
Literally.
But it was a realization for her that,
but
like,
she would do the same thing if they lived here.
If she didn't, if she didn't,
I mean, not
see
to be an
him
asshole,
right.
more than likely,
sure,
if they shared a
see
bed.
him for a month, it doesn't matter. It's that distance that causes that pit in your stomach, and it doesn't matter what you say or what you do.
Any change in his behavior or anything like that. It scares me. It does. It super scares me because it's such an unhealthy thing it's for the person that has to deal with being that mate. But I look at the person that's struggling with that, because it's like, I feel sorry for when people are really struggling with like some shit that I'm looking at going, seriously?
Right.
You're inventing this. It bothers me that they're feeling this, because like the other person will be fine, because the other person's probably reasonably fucking healthy. Probably. And they'll be fine, or they'll break up, or they'll whatever the fuck they're going to do.
Right.
But in that context of like the person that's feeling like the way she's feeling, She's got to live with that.
It's real for her. Perception is reality.
100%. Oh, I've dealt with it my whole fucking life with people.
Right. So if you take, like, that's why I like that blanket question of like, how long can you go? That depends on love languages. If you're a quality time person,
you're fucked.
Then
why would you even date? Like, why would?
Right. Like, but they try, right? Because usually those are
they
people
don't want to
that
start over.
They dated when they were together, and now circumstances have changed, and they're distant, and they're like, okay, well, let's try it.
People live losing a limb. Not to be an asshole.
That's true. Yeah.
Like, whatever. Why, when we ever have these conversations, is the word discipline not brought up? You have to discipline yourself to be able to accept something. If I lost a leg and I still wanted to run, or I still wanted to ride my motorcycle or do things, I would have to be disciplined to make that happen, correct?
Ew, but nobody wants to use the word discipline in their relationship.
Oh, because nothing
right?
good. But think about
hard.
this. Anything you're good at, any professional, anything that you do at a high level takes an enormous amount of discipline.
Yeah, but relationships are supposed to add.
Is that the biggest misconception?
Yes.
Add what? Problems?
No, add benefit. They're supposed to be beneficial.
Financially, it could.
Beneficial. You're supposed to add to my life. It's your job to add to my life.
That quickly falls apart. If it's not healthy, which most of the time it's not.
Right. That's why they fall apart.
Like, falls apart like you build a car out of fucking Legos and tried to race on the Indy 500.
Think about like the Three Little Pigs, right?
Fuck it. Just go outside and be like, I would go next to the wolf and start blowing with him, and he would just be freaked out. I'd be like, let's get this motherfucker. I want to eat him too. And he'd be like, wait, you eat pig too? I'm like, fuck yeah, I do, dude.
Right.
And when I'm done eating him, I'm going to fucking eat you. And he'd be like, fuck, I'm going to leave his brothers alone.
All
right?
about the wow factor.
Fuck.
No, people want fun. People want loyalty. People want support. And there are a lot of people who are in it, right?
But they can't even...
As long as it's benefit. But like when what I've noticed is when it starts to have zero benefit for yourself, which, let's be honest, like relationships ebb and flow. So there are times where it doesn't have a lot of benefit to you.
No, nothing does.
Right.
There's everything that either brings you grief.
Right.
There's two sides. Like a knife could feed your family or take your family. I mean, everything has that.
Right. But as soon as it takes that turn for any length of time, people get uncomfortable. And they immediately start to wonder, when is it going to switch back? When's it going to be my turn again? Why can't it go back to the way it was?
But even perception, even if it switches back, you still hold resentment. You still live in it.
For the hard times. Right.
Why?
Remember when that happened?
When I question you about something, you're going to bring up what I did, and we already squashed.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my gosh. Fair fighting rules. Do you know how often I go over fair fighting rules?
How do you explain it to him? I'm going to listen to how you do it.
A literal worksheet.
I want to hear it. I want to hear just go me a little, and then I'm going to tell you how I explain it to people.
What, fair fighting rules?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So
I want to hear a clinical version, and I want you to hear my Appalachian version.
So it starts with
yeah. We're going to write 2 books.
It starts
clinical
with
and Appalachian.
Like logistics, right? No name calling. No stonewalling.
What's stonewalling for people that don't understand it?
Shutting down.
Okay.
You
I was
come at
real
me
good at that
and
for a long time.
I go to my room and I shut the door.
Ghosting.
Yep. Stonewalling. So no name calling, no stonewalling.
What about letting it calm down? Is that considered stonewalling?
No. So that's actually recommended.
Oh, see.
At the end.
Can I get that pamphlet as well?
So you have no stonewalling, no name calling, no ledger. What's it like? Ledger pulling, right? Like a receipt. Where you're like, hold on. Let me tell you. You're mad at me for this,
receipts.
but I can do this. It does. It becomes a ledger comparison.
Okay.
So you're not allowed to pull up old shit. Only one argument at a time, one topic at a time. You're mad at me because I didn't do the dishes. If that's really what it's about, you can't then
also bring out you hate my sister.
And I didn't let out the dog, and I didn't do the laundry, and I didn't
pick one. Just say housework then.
Sure. Well, and get to the bottom.
I know you're saying, but only one problem at a time.
That's another thing. Like, figure out if you're really mad at that person. Like, what's it about? Yeah. You're angry because you feel what? What do you feel that's making you mad? And then address that.
Gotcha.
And then at the end of like these lists that we go through, we start to talk about like a pause plan.
Pause plan. Mm-hmm. So to calm it down a little bit.
If you start to find yourself flirting with these rules, you need to pause. because it's no longer
What if
beneficial.
somebody is flirting with it, but they don't realize they're flirting with it or don't care, and you're the other person on the other
Well,
end?
ideally, if you
You
were
get a
in
whistle or
couples
something.
counseling,
You get a fucking whistle.
you have some. I mean,
foghorn, like.
well, not to sound like trivial, but like you have like some sort of code word or like
Oh,
something
like
to say,
safe word?
like, hey, right, you
Peanut butter cookies, peanut butter cookies.
this is turning unbeneficial. Like, I need a break. So if you can't, it's not healthy to say like you need a break, but if you see that person flirting with those rules, then you call a break. Like, I need a break. You have a
Yeah.
designated space, designated time.
Yeah.
You're not allowed to re-engage until you both agree.
How beautiful would that be? That should be like first date shit.
Ideal.
You should make them sign a
what's our
contract
what's
first
our
date.
pause plan? Right. It
That's
should be
pretty
on.
good.
It should be on there.
And they're like paws. What do you mean, like cat paws?
No.
Dog paws? Your grandpaws?
That's furry shit.
I know, just weird shit.
But
Well-
no, and then there's usually like a hard stop plan too.
God,
of like, listen,
no.
if we get to this point and I need you to stop,
You need to put out a flag.
that is what it is.
Yeah.
Like, and that means
People have a hard time respecting that, though.
Oh yeah.
Really hard time. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that gets dangerous.
Oh, there's conflict patterns that are
Oh.
usually by the time they're in couples counseling,
It's too late.
they are. I mean,
It's
they're
like
so
getting Ukraine and Russia to
ingrained.
figure it out right now.
Yes, they are so
That's next level
ingrained
shit.
by then.
And they
they're
learn
like-
that.
When they know what each other's buttons are, they push them on purpose.
Oh my God. People say they have neon buttons. You know, people just want to, they've got to touch it,
Like, yeah,
you know?
I know if I, bring up your mom,
Yeah.
I win.
I would be like, let's do it.
But like everybody, if you're
Yeah.
with somebody,
I
long
think girls
enough,
get mad at me because they can't get me riled up. So they'll go hard. And I'm just sitting there like this. Why are we doing this? You know what I mean?
For what?
I don't know. So this is what I tell people when they bring up stuff. And I hear couples bringing up stuff and they're like, well, they blah, blah, blah. I go, did you guys already deal with that problem? And I always ask this, have you had sex with each other since you've had this problem? And they go, yeah. I go, then it's squashed because you shouldn't fuck people you don't trust. You shouldn't fuck people you don't like. So you're talking out of both sides of your mouth. This is not real. Fair? I know this sounds crazy, but I go, imagine if we were having dinner and we had dinner and the waitress came around and I paid the bill, or we paid the bill. I don't want to make it
Sure.
sound like I did, but I probably did because that's
I would
just what I
appreciate
do.
it.
I do. I just like doing it. And we're having coffee. You know, would you like
Right.
some coffee? And we're having a conversation and it's going very well. If that waitress came back around and gave us another bill, how mad would you be? You'd be like, I already paid this bill. And they'd be like,
Right.
no, you're
We
going to pay
already
it
settled
again.
this.
You're going to pay it again. But I didn't get any more food. Doesn't matter. You got that food once. And when I say it that way,
Oh, that
It's-
hits different.
because it's like, it's real. I go, if you would be so fucking mad that if
Yeah.
somebody made you pay that bill twice and they're just like, fuck. I go, how many times do you have to pay that bill? Why? Because you're
Oh my God, forever.
right.
Listen, so when I have couples counseling, I usually give them two options. So
Knives, guns.
no, but when
I'm
you
from
talk
West Virginia.
about,
That's how we do shit, okay?
When you-
Chainsaw.
when you talk about trauma, right?
Yeah.
There's two clinical approaches to trauma, in my opinion. You can either process through it, or you can put a lid on it. And there's
It's not like put a ring on it.
nope, you can just put a lid on it. So
If you're unhappy, put a lid on it.
if there's circumstantial trauma, like this happened to me, I had this experience.
Okay.
It usually is, I'm going to say relatively easy, and forgive me, but like to process through that and like put it behind you.
Reasonable.
And like,
We're
like,
not talking
sure,
about
right, yeah,
hardcore,
right,
like
sure.
I mean, anything can be hardcore for somebody.
Right.
Obviously, we're not saying that your
Right.
problems are small,
Right.
but they probably are.
If you have complex trauma, and that's my specialty, right? Like
Yeah.
we're talking years of every ACEs, like the adverse effects child trauma
Brutal.
scale. Right. Yeah. If you have complex trauma, it is so hard to process through. Like, how do you?
It's chaos.
How do you? Right.
So much static that there's
Right.
no way, right?
Right. So often it is more beneficial to kind of put a lid on that and kind of put it on the shelf and just talk about what's in that can and how it affects you now. And that's
The whole,
it.
not
Yep.
each individual thing, but
Nope.
the general idea.
What
of
are
it.
your triggers? What are the
Oh,
affects of it? Like
real
what?
shit.
Right. Yeah.
Today.
Yeah.
Today.
How does that can affect you now? In relationships, I kind of use that same clinical mindset of, is there a certain thing, infidelity, a
Yeah.
DUI?
Is that the biggest one?
I would say most couples come to me because they have issues with communication, not to sound cliche, but it's a thing.
Communicate. What's most important? Communication. What does that mean? I don't just want to be able to communicate.
I know.
Yeah.
It usually comes down to intimacy. So it's either communication, finances, or sex. Those three.
Well,
I
time?
would say 10 times out of 10.
Wow. That is true.
Yep.
So here's what's funny with me when people talk about like somebody, I'll have older ladies and they'll talk about their dudes. And I go, well, do you have sex with them? And they look at me like I asked them if they shovel shit. I'm not joking.
Listen,
They literally look at me like, I go,
that's a disgusting concept.
yes.
Yeah.
Like they're appalled by him touching her. And I go, well, riddle me this. You probably used to sneak out of a window to go make out with him. Like you would do anything. Like you would do it I go, what? So I started doing research on that. And my conclusion is every little resentment goes in that bank. And eventually the bank is so heavy that they can't even look at them any other. But I'm like, so.
I found a TikTok about that the other day, and I was like, "This woman is a genius." Like whatever,
she nailed it right on the head.
Nailed it.
Yeah, I always say it's like throwing a pebble in a pool. Every time somebody does something, it doesn't seem like a big deal, but eventually you have no pool.
Yep.
And then you're like, I have a hole in the ground full of rocks that are useless. But here's my thing. So I'm not a therapist. I did play one on TV. What I've noticed about most people is when they have a problem, say they have a resentment towards something their husband or wife did. Why is it always the husband or wife's duty or problem to make them feel better about it? So when I have something that bothers me, I literally go first, why is this bothering me?
Right.
Because is it my shit, your shit, or somebody
Yep.
else's shit? I say that a lot.
That's not normal.
Because some people are like, well, if you have a problem with somebody, you should tell them. I go,
No.
hold on. You should
No,
talk
right.
to yourself and go, are they just being a normal human and I'm just projecting that shit on them because of other shit in my life or whatever the fuck got you there?
Right.
But I think that's like, why wouldn't you want to have you don't want to have sex with your husband? Then why are you married to him? And why are you mad that he's having sex with someone else? Tell me that.
Yeah.
Because if it's about STDs, you're not having sex with him.
Right.
So that takes that off the right. So
Right.
what
No.
if
it's
you?
loyalty.
But you're not being loyal to him
Oh yeah. I mean, I have worked with couples who have not had sex in years.
with each other
Yes. Yes. And
for real.
if
Years in the same house.
yeah.
How's that happen?
So why I believe
I mean, you
it,
could trip
those
down
are
the stairs and
couples-
end up inside someone.
Right.
I mean, fuck.
Those are couples that I usually do start to do breakouts
Just
with,
shoot
right?
'em.
That I'm like,
Just go to their house
Where
and
are you
shoot them
at?
in the head. Jesus Christ.
Oh, well, then
dude,
you
I
put on-
don't think I could be in prison and not have sex for 2 years.
oh, well, you know where that conversations go 10 times out of 10 is we talk about masturbation, we talk about porn, we talk about texting, we talk about all these things that everybody's like, well, he does this or she does this. And I'm like, yeah, no shit.
Yeah, no.
What they have options and they're picking the lesser of two evils. You should be proud of them.
Yeah. Yeah, he's not
Years?
John Wayne Gacy in it. I
You're
mean,
welcome.
seriously.
You're welcome.
So they get mad if their husband watches porn?
Oh,
What do they want him to do?
I had 2 conversations about porn with clients this morning.
Really?
Yes.
I did too. I'm kidding. Totally different conversation.
it's
I was like, that lighting
cheating.
on you was
'Cause
horrible.
It's cheating.
Oh, I hear that a lot.
I'm curious.
I've heard that a lot.
What's your opinion? I would say I have a strong opinion about porn.
I think you should have figured that out before you married them. I think that if you have a healthy sexual relationship with each other, but I also feel like everybody's different, and some people really look at that as infidelity to them in their head.
Sure.
But you also have to not, my joke all the time is if I came to your house and there was nothing to eat or drink, more than once, I would
that's
stop
the other
and get something to eat or drink on the
Right.
way.
Right.
And people look at me like I'm crazy. I'm like, do you think I'm going to come to your house and be hungry every day? I'm sorry. There is
but-
nothing that's going to make me, and not just that,
Yeah.
mind your fucking business.
Yeah.
Because if that doesn't concern you enough to do it, now listen, if your husband or wife went through something traumatic
Mm-hmm.
and they're not feeling good about themselves, You could give them a year. I think a year is fair to work on things and like go, hey, she went through some heavy shit or he went through some. I mean, what's funny is girls. I've had women complain that their dudes don't want to have sex with them, and I go, well, there's probably some other reason. What guy doesn't want? Every guy wants to fuck. I go, no, not every guy wants to fuck everybody. I hate the break. Most guys don't talk about it because the guys who don't act like that aren't horn dogs.
Shame and guilt, right?
And I go, I will say this. The girlfriend you get versus the wife you end up with eventually, like the girlfriend, their hair's done or they're sexy, they're wearing cute panties. And then when you get together, next thing you know, it's messy hair bun and old shitty. We've heard these stories.
They haven't shaved in 4 days, and they're
and we don't really care about that. We don't care about, but a cute pair of panties goes a long way for a dude. I'm sorry, like I will fucking dig ditches all day for you for some cute panties, and that's just a fact. You know what I mean? But like, and it sucks because I had a problem too, and that when you go to bed, if you're talking about serious shit when I lay down in bed with you, I'm not in the mood to be intimate with you.
Yeah.
I think beds should be a sacred place. And people don't talk about it enough, and I rarely hear anybody talk about it. I think your bedroom should be a sacred place that only making out, sleeping, and love goes on. If you have a problem with me, we need to go upstairs and talk. I don't want to do it in our bedroom because because if you associate that room, if you took your dog into the bathroom every time you whooped its ass, that dog would not want to do anything. You don't give a fuck if you had a treat and be like, no, he's going to fuck me up. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't know why beds aren't talked about as a sacred space of love. And like, because I go to lay down to bed and I have a beautiful woman next to me that I absolutely adore. And she would just start in about something and I'm like,
why now? Why?
Like, baby, like it's the end of the day. Right. And I just want to love you and understand you want to communicate. In her mind, she was probably doing an amazing thing in her head. Like, I just want to talk to him about this. But I'm like, and then you want me to be intimate? Like, I just want to go to sleep because now
we're shutting down.
I'm shutting down.
Yeah.
I start my day very early, and by the time I stop moving, I will literally pass out. But not just that, I just feels like this is our bed. This is where we love each other. And like, I know that sounds crazy, and people are like, "Oh, this guy's..."
You're making it icky. You're making it icky.
Hey, man, listen, it'd be like somebody walking in on your wedding day and just being a dick. You would not accept it.
Right.
Okay, so what's the difference? That is your bed. Right. Because if I had somebody else in my bed doing something fucking shitty, you would be mad. So how are you allowed to do something shitty in my bed? Yeah, I mean, I'm just asking. You know what I mean? Like,
I know.
But that fucks up that space. There's certain places in my house that I feel like.
Oh, that opens a whole can of worms. So I'm working with a couple clients I have worked with a couple clients recently that we have a whole conversation about co-sleeping.
What does that mean?
When parents are still sleeping with their children.
Oh, I had that the other day.
In their bed.
I had it the other day. 8 years.
Yep.
8 years she slept on a trundle bed in the same room as her daughters because the one has separation. I was like, and she's like wondering why her husband is drinking like a fucking madman. I was like, you don't sleep with him.
Right.
Listen, if I had a girl that was out of town or lived somewhere, I'd be okay with it. Sure. But if we're in the same house, I need to feel you next to me. Yeah. I need to feel, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I couldn't have, dude, get the fuck out of here. Put your kid in a fucking bed.
Right. Well, so here's the problem. And this is what I always tell parents. So the majority of clients that I work with have elementary school kids.
Of course they do.
It's hard.
Yeah, because you get divorced when they're teens.
Yeah. I actually think the highest divorce rate is when they're in later elementary school.
100%.
It's hard. And I always tell parents, I'm like, the problem is not that there's not a book for it. The problem is that there's like 50,000 books for it.
All the books.
And
you were a child. Like, I don't know how hard it is for people to understand how to treat a kid when you were a fucking kid.
Right. So here we are, two people who probably don't have the most solid relationship, right? Because if we take a step back, like we talked about, you got to check all my boxes. You're checking all my boxes. You seem super solid. Let's have babies. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Fuck yeah, they're collectors.
Yeah.
I call those ladies collectors.
Right. If you have one, you might as well have two.
Well, they need somebody to play with. I don't know about you, but I did not love playing with my siblings.
It's like having a dog and then getting another dog.
I love the girls they're really. They need somebody to play with. I go, I want to take you on TV because you know how to speak to dogs. Like, you don't know how to speak to dogs, or you would tell them to quit shitting in my house.
Right. No, but they have them back to back to back. And then now they're, let's say 3, 6, 8.
Yeah.
And they're in the trenches. Because, I mean, they're like
Nonstop.
What do you do?
SUV.
What do you do?
No,
We're bickering constantly. Oh my God, chores come out, housework come out. Listen,
why do you fucking have kids with a guy who can't clean? And why would you have kids with a woman who can't clean?
Here's the problem. What I often see is women who have figured it out, right? They have figured out how to run the machine.
That's what it takes.
It runs, right?
That word, that
it
dirty
runs.
word.
But then they're resentful because they got it up and running on their own.
Why would you be resentful? Not to be a dick. We're in a recording studio right now.
Sure.
Okay, I have 2 engineers in there. Okay? If we're working on a project and I figure it out, they're not mad at me. They're happy that, and I'm not going, oh, I had to figure this out. No, I'm happy that it's figured out and the problem's fucking done.
Right. So what happens is the wife and mom gets it up and running, and then she looks to her husband and says, I just fixed it. Where are you at?
What does that mean, though?
Then he tries. Here's where the kicker is. Then he tries. So he steps in. He does the dishes. He does the laundry.
He's realizing, like, hey, I need to give her a hand.
All right, you're right.
Yeah.
He doesn't do it right.
I literally just had that.
So
Are these all just the same 6 problems?
Every time. Swing and a miss.
I'm out. We're done. Listen, get a close up on me. Act fucking right. Quit being stupid, and we don't need to have this fucking show anymore because you're fucking dumb. Are you fucking kidding me? How are we having the same fucking conversation? We don't have the same clients.
No. It's everybody's problem.
You know what she told me? I don't want them doing laundry or doing dishes because they don't do them right. I go, you're complaining they fucking do dishes and they don't fucking do them right? I go, you need to fucking, like, she goes, they think that I wash the dishes before they even go in the dishwasher. I go, then that's what you're doing. I go, because I've never had a dishwasher in my life.
Yeah.
Okay? So I don't know how I'll be lying. So I've been asking people, hey, how dirty can a dish be when you put it in there? And they go, pretty fucking dirty.
Pretty dirty.
It can't be a caked pan, like a horribly caked pan, but any dish.
If it's fresh, you can put it in, it'll come clean.
Reasonable, right? And if it doesn't, big deal, you run it again, right? Or you clean it.
You take it out and then you wash it afterwards.
So how are you complaining? So this is the thing I don't understand about people. It's the same thing with everything. Mm-hmm. If you have a rule in your house that there's no dishes in the sink, that's a very simple rule to have, right? But when I say it to people, you think I'm asking them to literally rebuild a transmission.
Oh, yeah.
And they go, what do you mean? I go, do people not flush the toilet in your house? And they go, of course they flush the toilet, Thomas. I go, what is the difference? Mm-hmm. And they still look at me like I'm speaking in another language. I go, have a rule in your house that there are no dirty dishes in the sink.
Ever. Period.
Ever.
Right.
Period. And they're still looking at me like, honey, what is he saying? I don't understand him.
Right. Well, if that's your rule, that's your rule.
How is that a hard rule? Don't you think that'd fix a lot of problems?
It would. The problem
and everybody makes every excuse of why they can't do it. And so I go, I get it. So when your husband makes an excuse why he thinks his penis should be in another girl's mouth, be okay with it. Right? Because what's the difference?
Then they look at you like...
What's the difference? I'd rather have clean dishes. I would. I'd rather have a neat kitchen.
There's a big difference.
No, I'd rather have a clean kitchen. Everybody sees your clean kitchen, and you got to eat in there. If she ain't even fucking him, so why should she even care? Dude, I had a lady that got so mad she hadn't had sex with her husband for 2 years and got mad that he was cheating on her. And I asked her,
how long?
2 years.
How long is the appropriate time?
To cheat?
Yeah. When?
Fuck.
I'm curious. You mentioned a year earlier. Like
no,
if they have some shit.
No. Not to cheat. A year that you need to get help. And depending on how much you fucking love them and how much you want to work through it. But there's a point too. If she's being mean, this woman, when she caught him cheating, she goes, I caught him doing some weird shit and blah, blah, blah.
Weird shit?
Yeah, she goes, he was being weird about it. He was being weird about his car.
Okay.
And weird about his phone. So I looked in his car and found all this weird sex stuff. And I was like, what's weird? I said
What's
the same
weird?
thing.
What's
weird?
weird
Like,
sex
I'm like, horse
My
bridles?
threshold
Like,
is
what's,
very high.
yeah, because somebody else goes, well, weird to me is size. You know what I mean? And I was like, okay, fair. But she couldn't really answer it. And I go, when's the last time you had sex with him? She goes, I haven't had sex with him in like 2.5 years. And I go, what?
So here's my follow-up question every time somebody tells me that. You haven't had sex with him in 2.5 years, or you haven't had any sort of physical intimacy in 2.5 years?
Nothing. You know what she told me? I'm not attracted to him. And I said, okay.
I feel like a lot of
I
people
said,
have
"Does he-"
sex with people they're not attracted to.
100%. Dude, I know a lot of guys that will have sex with anything that will
Right.
allow them.
I feel
okay?
like that is a very
Yeah.
low threshold expectation.
Well, I asked him, or asked her, does he take care of the stuff? Because I knew that he did. Does he take care of the house and take care of? Well, yes. I go, then mind your business.
Checks all the boxes.
Mind your business. And she goes, what? He's my husband. I go, then act like his wife. I'm sorry, but like,
I know.
that's a fine line. And I understand that's a fine line. But you know what's funny? They got a divorce and she just put her little hooker shoes back on and went out and was handed out like fucking Obama phones.
Broke out the shoebox.
That's right.
So there-
Walked up there like I showed you. Like,
Yep.
got him dusted off. Oh, they still fit. Oh,
Yep.
look at this. Ding. And then her,
Fuck me pumps.
her tender's going off like fucking
Yeah.
crazy. You know what I mean? So to me, it's like resentment does get built up. You know, me personally, the only time I stop being intimate with somebody is because, you know, I don't feel that our sacred space is kind of being respected. And
Yeah.
I just realized that recently.
Yeah.
Because I had to think about it.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because it
What
was
is
a
it?
problem.
What is
yeah.
it
Oh,
that-
yeah. Because I
that
can't just
turns
sit there and
it?
be like, fuck it. You know, like,
Right.
fuck it, next. I don't want to do that. I want to fix the problem. I don't want to keep doing the same dumb shit. You know what I mean? But, like,
Yeah.
everybody's different. And I don't think there is an appropriate time. I'd love to say just fucking end it or have a real conversation. But if you don't start off with real conversations, I doubt you're going to end with them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The audience, yes. Justin just told us on our headphones. Justin's in the other room. But if you tell us how you feel about this, call us. Tell us your situations, and we'll put you on the show. We'll put your recording on the show, or we'll call you because we're crazy. I will call your ass. 234 200
5949.
5949. That's a good, easy. I'll learn to remember it one day. I need to just put it here on a piece of tape or something.
Oh, we'll get a label maker.
Oh, I have one.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, I'm a little
course you do.
psychotic. Yeah, everything's labeled.
Probably two of them.
Look, I think so. Dang, we're getting close.
Oh.
We're getting close. We're going to wrap it up here in a little bit. So this is our first show, kind of introducing things, but we want to talk to people. We're going to have some guests. Next show will have a guest, and probably a bunch of shows will have guests. If you want to be on a guest, call that fucking number or text us. I mean, I don't know. We can Zoom call you, or your ass can come down here if you're not crazy. We have security, so don't act crazy. We'll fuck you up. We're not your normal show. We will
seem
fuck you
nice,
up.
but-
No, we will fuck you up for sure. Okay. But I just want people to be healthier. I want people to think about shit in a rational way, because literally, I don't want you to fuck my kids up. I don't want my kids to fuck your kids up. And I just see it every day. Apparently, I'm having the same conversations you're having, and I'm not a therapist, which is fucking baffling.
Right. Well, there's intimacy. In
There
your job.
is.
There is.
There definitely is. You
They
know what I
spend
mean?
longer with you often than
They
they
do.
with me.
And they weirdly open up to me in a way which is beautiful, and I respect it. And it's, you know, it's both enriched and hindered my life in many ways. But I love it, and that's why I'm here, because I want people, like the things we're talking about. I just call bullshit on a lot of stuff, and I think we can do better. But that discipline, I think if we start applying discipline, and we don't talk about it enough, because it's such a bad thing. You're thinking you're getting your ass whooped.
Yeah.
You know, but when
Sounds
I
like
ask,
punishment.
yeah. So
But
my
it's not
thing
a
is,
synonym. It's not supposed to be that way.
right. And when people talk to one another, they expect an answer. They expect something, instead of, like, I've learned to just ask them questions. I ask them to explain what they're saying, and it changes the whole dynamic of it. You know what I mean? Like, if you're telling me that you're struggling in a relationship or whatever, I ask real questions. I ask you to explain why you say it. You know, like, what does that mean you're having a problem? Like,
Tell me
you're
more.
having a problem? Yeah, tell me more.
Tell me more.
Tell me more. I'm sure it's trickery you guys use. You guys are like wizards, you know. Tell me more, kitty. You know?
I just want to understand.
Yeah. And for me,
It's legit. Like, tell me.
yeah, in analogies, if you can't explain it back to them in a way they'll understand, you're wasting your fucking time.
You gotta break it down.
Yeah, and for me, it's important that people are honest with each other. See, everyone's honesty, but they're not being honest. I've had people tell me things, and I go, "Have you ever been that honest with a mate?" And they look at me like almost with tears in their eyes, like, "Oh my God." And I'm like, I don't, to be that fragile with someone. I've had fragile moments with girls I've been with, and I feel like a fool after them because I feel, I'm a man and I have this weird pride. I try to be reasonably healthy, but I still feel like I don't want her to ever think I can't protect her and I can't be, but I still can. I know. I know.
Provider versus vulnerability.
Yeah.
Right? It's a fine line.
And, I've gotten better with that, but in the same breath, like, I don't struggle with a ton of stuff because I work on it.
Yeah.
So they want more out of me, and there really isn't a lot. I'm just like, no, I'm good, bro. Like, I'm cool. Fist bump. Let's go make out and get some ice cream. That's all I want to do.
Right.
And if I can fix a problem, make it fucking go away with money or make it go away with just handling it and just, okay, next. Because I want to live my life. I've had drama in my life, and I don't want to fucking do it. I don't want to deal with that unhealthy shit anymore. And I'm at an age and a comfortableness in my life that if I can make the problem go away, I don't hold it above your head. Don't care. Let's just keep it fucking moving.
Right. Well, but that comes with, so there's a difference between like acceptance and the fuck it bucket, right?
Well, acceptance, you're right. I'm not like fuck it, like fuck it, like in a negative way, but I have a theory that I say, I have a fire drill in my head that I practice. And it took me when I was really struggling, it would take me a month to get over something or 2 months.
Sure.
And then once I started applying this thing, if something, my spidey senses start going off, that anxiety or whatever the fuck it may be, hate, whatever the fuck it is, I ask myself 2 questions. How does it honestly affect me? And can I do anything about it? And if it does not hit those 2 parameters, it's not in my, and so sometimes then it would take me a month and 28 days. And then it would take me a month and 15 days. And now it's nanoseconds. No, I mean, it's literally like...
Right, no, I get it.
Like, I've done it so many times that I'm like this.
But you go through your thing.
And here's the problem, because people can justify how it affects them. So I'll look at them, I go, okay, we're going to stop what we're doing here at my work while you're here. And we're going to go find this person and we're going to deal with it. And they look at me like, what? And I go, no, this is for real. This is real shit. And they're like, I go, we're done with this. And they're like, no. And I'm like, then it's not real.
Right.
I'm sorry.
If it's not a priority, what are we doing?
If you won't, I call it Conan mad. You're probably, I don't know if you watched that movie.
No, I got it.
If you're not willing to walk away from everything to find that person and extinguish their light or deal with it, then it's not real. And people never talk about it because I think people are like, oh yeah, fuck them. And fuck that motherfucker. And I'm like, no, then go. I come from a place where you hunt them.
Right.
And you deal with them or you don't, or you don't give a fuck.
Right.
And I know that's not the healthiest way to be, but in the same breath, it's like, it should be a little more fucking cut and dry.
Yeah. No, I tell people all the time, if they have a problem that they're trying to move past, you have 2 options. It's either faith it or fuck it.
Yeah.
So
I've seen a movie like that.
Are you just gonna move past it and trust in the end game?
Yeah.
Because that's what it is. Like, if you are just chalking it up, like you said, as this probationary period of living, learning, we hit a hiccup, and that's what it is.
Yeah. Some people, you're not going to find out because they didn't even know they had a problem with something.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? Most girls have never dated a guy like me. And there's certain shit that they've never dealt with. And all of a sudden they're like, fuck, that's freaking me out.
Oh, yeah.
It's like driving a new car and you're like, where in the fuck are the hazards?
No. We've had that conversation before.
It's real shit.
We are not the norm.
It's real shit. And it's scary. You know what I mean?
So you either got to have faith and just move past it, or you have to just say, fuck it. But do
you think people like to feel like that they got power over you because you fucked up? Or they're thinking they made it look like you fucked up? Like they own you a little bit?
No, that's a real thing. No, for sure. For sure. They hold it over you.
That's dumb.
That's the ledger.
Ugh.
That's what we talked about, right? Ugh. That ledger of like, all right, so I'm going to get over it.
No, I'm gonna stop talking about it for a minute.
But I'm gonna put it in my back pocket.
Fold it up.
Yep. I'm just gonna fold it up real nice, and then sometimes it comes out every Friday when I'm drunk.
Oof.
And sometimes it comes
You ever
out
been with
once a
somebody
year on
that
New
likes to
Year's.
get
You know what I
drunk
mean? Like,
and they get horrible when they're drunk?
oh,
I've had a few of those.
oh
That's the worst in the world. Like I've had, when I was younger, I can remember the days of driving and slowly in a car with a pissed off pretty girl. I'm like, baby, get in the car. No.
yeah.
Get in the car, baby. Now I'm like this. If you get out of this car, I am leaving. I
Right.
am not.
You
I
are
don't
gonna be
care.
on this corner.
Dude, my buddy got out of a car. God rest his soul. He's not with us anymore. We were out, like, just having a night out. And he got too drunk and he acted like a dick. And I had like 3 other people in the car. And we stopped and he just got out and left. And he was being a dick at the bar. And we told him not to be a dick at the bar. And he just got out and left. And I just took off. The light turned green and I left. And the guys in the car were like, what the fuck, dude? You just left it. I go, I was a grown ass man. I got out of a perfectly good car. See ya.
Like a personal problem.
See ya.
He made choices.
And people were like, Jesus. I'm like, listen, if he called me and said, come pick me up anywhere, I would go pick him up.
Right.
But you got out of a perfectly good ass car, dummy.
Right.
Piss off.
Right.
We were cool. We never even talked about it again. Fuck it. Wait, faith it or fuck it. I guess that was a fuck it.
I guess so.
All right.
But like, call it what it is.
Dude, be healthier. So listen, anything that we talked about, call and tell us. If you think we're being wrong, fucking call and tell us we're fucking wrong.
Let
That
us
should
know.
be funny as fuck. We will play that shit. But at the end of the day, be kind to people.
Right.
Be fucking nice. And honestly, take some fucking personal responsibility of why you feel the way you do instead of making it somebody else's fucking problem.
Pause
Unless somebody's being abusive to you.
Right.
If somebody's calling you horrible names and fucking
Sure.
gaslighting you and whatever other words we want to use in
Oh,
2023.
Lord. Right.
But I'm saying, unless that's
There's a
what they're
dictionary for
doing
that.
to you, like you have to be conscious of what someone's. So somebody goes, "You really hurt my feelings, Thomas." Blah blah blah. And I went, "Okay."
Oh,
so I
God,
did
we
this.
could have a whole,
I did this.
Right.
You're good. And she's like, "What?" I go, "You're good. You're good. I made you better."
Right.
And she's like, "No, I'm not." I go, "Well, if I have that kind of control over your fucking feelings,
That's a lot of power.
you're good. And actually, you want to make out? We're good."
Right.
Not the
It's
case.
a lot of power that you're passing out.
It's
You choose to be
it's
offended.
very unhealthy, and we allow it. We rally behind it. A lot of people rally behind somebody
Oh
that
my
feels
God.
that way.
We die
deal
on
with that?
hills daily.
Yeah,
How many hills are you going to die on?
all of them.
You got to pick.
My family's from Scotland.
They die on all the types.
Yeah, or we
all-
kill a lot of people.
That's true. Yeah. I'm Scottish, English, Irish,
Jesus, you're Viking blood too.
as
We're fucked.
Caucasian as they go.
Jesus Christ.
But you know what I mean? Like you choose
No,
what you're
you do.
offended by.
Everything.
And sometimes people they're like, I'll die on
Is
that
it because
hill
their
and that
parents
hill and
never
that
listened
hill
to
and
them
that
or
hill.
loved them?
God, oh my God.
Is that
Thomas,
why?
That could be a whole thing.
That's show number 87.
Right.
I mean, honestly, why do people have to walk around and be validated at every turn?
I feel like people want to fight other people's battles because they can't fight their own.
Well, that girl that was upset, she said she was super upset. It was over someone else's. She didn't even know how he felt about the situation. That's what I was like, did you ask him? Well, no.
Right.
So you had an argument with your mother about something.
You don't
You
even know.
didn't even ask him.
Has nothing to do with him? Her?
No, it's her nephew. You know what I mean? It was a situation with her nephew that she was worried that he would be upset at the situation. Now, you could talk to your mom and go, hey, if we thought about how this might affect whatever his
Sure,
name is,
sure.
insert name
Right.
here. That's being concerned.
Yeah.
But assuming to the point you're arguing with another person,
when you don't even know.
because is it easier? When I explained it to her, she was like, holy shit. And she was totally like, wonderful. You know what I mean? And not that I needed to be proved right. I don't really care. I mean, I was just being objective to what I heard, from a different perspective, which isn't always right. But, sometimes you do see something differently.
Yeah.
I mean, that's your whole job's based on
Yeah,
that.
right. You see something that they missed.
But I'm just amazed of how people blindly walk through it and just like, and there's a million reasons. Because one, if I'm pointing out everybody else's shit, you're not looking at mine.
Sure.
It's very simple.
Sure.
But I just, with my own personal experiences, I want
love
people
a
to be
cause.
healthier.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
People love a cause.
We have a cause here.
Yeah. Right.
And some people might think we're wasting our fucking time. I spent a lot of time building this thing and making this thing cool.
Yeah.
And like, some people will be like, what the fuck are you doing? You could be just out riding your Harley and like having fun.
That's true.
Fuck that.
But we're here.
Yeah. All right.
Trying to pass it on.
We're going to wrap it up. Our next one will have a guest, and I guarantee you guys will be extremely entertaining. So this is the first one. How'd it go?
I think it went great.
How would you grade it? It went pretty good. Went easier than you thought it would.
It was easier.
She was a little nervous.
I was nervous.
She was.
I'm used to talking to, well, I was going to say I'm used to talking one-on-one.
Yeah.
That's what this is.
You guys can't see it, but we actually have a studio audience. It's all out here. It's insane. They're very quiet. Yeah. Say it was great. We have it. We have claps.
I was nervous,
All
but
right.
this went well.
It did go well. We'll see you guys next time. All right, roll whatever you roll, Jay. Justin.